Welcome back to Andersen Acres. Today we're talking about one of my favorite things, tools, which sounds weird. I know you don't often see me on the farm with tools in hand, but that's mostly because I can't hold a camera and film while I'm using tools. Okay, I only have two hands. So tools are important, okay, on the farm. Very important. And yes, we have chickens going under the picnic table there and one resting on the side of the picnic table. So I want to talk about the tools we use on the farm, the things that we can't live without. Not the kind that sit untouched in a garage somewhere, but the tools we actually use all the time, day in and day out. Okay? The ones that live in the mud, that get left on fence posts, and somehow become part of everyday farm survival, at least for us. Everyone will have a slightly different list. Okay? I use certain things that you might not use. Okay? So it's important to figure out what exactly you might use and what you don't. But I'm just going to go through a few things that matter to us that we use constantly. And then you can decide whether they might be worth it to you. Whether you're new to hobby farming or just want to compare toolboxes, these are the tools we absolutely cannot live without. Since I really don't feel like dragging out my tools and holding up each one, I'm just going to show you pictures. Either pictures that are taken here on the farm or pictures of something similar. Depends. I don't know where my drill is. I suspect it's out on the fence posts out at the back because that's where we were using it last. I don't want to walk out there. It just rained. So I think it's out in the back garden. It doesn't matter. So either there'll be pictures from around the farm or pictures of a similar item because I had no idea where the item I actually wanted was. It's fine. Anyway, these are the tools we can't live without because they are really, really handy. Let's start with our everyday hand tools, the things that you just always are grabbing, the things that you seem to always need. First up, these are the basic stuff. The things that ride around in your pockets, live in your barn, and magically disappear when you need them most because somebody just stole it and used it and didn't bring it back. So the first one that I use a lot of is a multi-tool or a Leatherman. That's what they look like. Okay, most people just call them multi-tools. We call them what? Can I help you? Not particularly? All right. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I tend to call them where's my thing? Everyone knows when I say, hey, where's my thing gone? I mean my multi-tool. I just call it the thing because you always need it. Okay? I don't think I've ever made it through a full day on the farm without pulling this out at least once or without having to hunt it down because somebody stole it. You can use them for like cutting your baling twine off your hay, fixing a latch, tightening a screw. These things have a host of little tools inside them, and you can like open a feed bag. Having them in your pocket as you wander around the farm is immensely helpful. Okay, so one of these I would definitely stick in your pocket as you're wandering around the farm. You can tighten screws. You can, open feed bags because I have issues. They're handy. Next up is a set of pliers, a good, durable set of pliers, especially the needle nose kind. And channel locks are not a bad idea either. We use them for fencing repairs, hose clamps, opening stubborn gates, pulling nails if you have to. If I had to pick just one tool besides the multi-tool, probably it's a good set of pliers because you never know when you're going to need to rip something out of a fence. Why are there nails in the fence? Who put them there? It wasn't me. I don't know. We don't talk about that. Next up, a hammer or a mallet. You probably don't need both. You probably will end up with both, but you probably don't need both. Pick a good one and stick with it. Whether you're driving in nails or knocking frozen buckets loose or encouraging a stubborn latch to cooperate by bashing the heck out of it, this gets the job done. And yes, you will find yourself grabbing your hammer and smashing at a frozen latch at some point, just because it's making you mad. So these are good things for taking out frustration. So a good hammer or a mallet. Screwdrivers. You're going to need them. Manual or a cordless one is fine as well. It doesn't matter. I have a cordless one in the house, and I've got multiple manual ones all over the place. In fact, there's a whole bunch on the picnic table right here, just because I use them all the time. I need them all the time. So, yes, no matter where you are, something's always coming loose, and you don't always need to go grab the drill to fix it. Sometimes you just need a screwdriver. Now let's talk about power tools. You don't need to have a full workshop. We actually do, but that's because my older son is really into woodworking. So he has all the stuff. He's got table saws and all the nonsense. But things I use every day on the farm, you don't need a whole host of tools. You probably will need a cordless drill. You don't need to spend a lot of money. If it's just for around the farm, one of those green Ryobis is fine. Okay, you don't need to go spend a ton of money. And it was? Yeah. Okay, well, he's stealing it because there goes my cordless drill right now. He went to see if it was out by the back garden, and now I think he's using it because he is going to be wiring something, and he's using washers and screws. So now he's stealing my drill. It's okay, I wasn't using it right this second anyway. But a cordless drill saves you so much time when fixing gates or building shelters or replacing hardware. Just keep it charged. Keep your batteries charged. And yes, I mean cordless. Here on the farm, unless you have power to every single building, you do want it cordless, because how long is your extension cord? Several hundred feet, probably not more. If you have several acres to cover, you probably are not going to be able to plug it in. So yes, get yourself a battery-powered cordless drill and keep the batteries charged. You're probably going to need a circular saw. You could use a hand saw, to be honest, but circular saws are faster. When you're building a shelter, like a goat shelter or a chicken coop, fixing up something that broke, it's probably a good idea to have a good cordless saw as well. Again, cordless, battery powered, so you can drag it all around the place. Eventually, you're going to need to cut lumber. You don't need something fancy. So again, you want to just get the cheap Ryobi tools. They work fine. You just need something that'll cut through a 2x4. Okay. This chicken's having a fit. What about emergency and first aid essentials? Sometimes things go sideways and fast, so it's not a bad idea to have things like a heavy-duty flashlight or a headlight. If you've ever had to check on a goat in labor at 3 a.m., you know why you need them. A good headlamp is worth its weight in gold when your hands are full and the barn is pitch black. Okay? Get yourself a couple. Keep them charged. Keep them charged so when you need them, they have power. But keep them charged. You will need them. Also, an animal first aid kit, especially things like a thermometer, vet wrap, syringes, antiseptic spray, scissors, a good pair of gloves. I keep things like activated charcoal, probiotics, electrolytes. Trust me, when something goes wrong, you'll be glad you already have this stocked. So a first aid kit kicking around so you can tend to injuries while you wait for the vet. Good plan. Yeah, good plan. Even though I talk about fencing all the time, I do want to take a minute to talk about things you might need for fencing and fasteners, because we talk about fencing a lot, and it's because fencing is so vital to a hobby farm. So, these tools are too important to leave off the list. You're going to want a fence stretcher. If you've had to work with woven wire or page wire, it makes a huge difference. Your hands and your back will thank you. Can you do your fences without a fence stretcher? Yeah. It is so much easier with one. If you're going to have to do a lot of fencing and you're doing it yourself, get yourself a fence stretcher. Also, a post pounder. It can be manual. You don't have to have a gas-powered one, but it's the fastest way to set a post. And it's also a great workout if you skip the gym. So having a good quality post pounder just to get those posts into the ground, because you're not always going to use step-in posts. Hi, sweetheart. Arwen is here. You're not always going to use step-in posts. Okay, sometimes you are going to use the metal kind and you have to smash them into the ground, and it is so much easier to use a post pounder than to sit there with your mallet. No, use post pounder. In it goes. Okay, you're also going to want a good staple gun and fencing staples. This is for attaching fencing to wood posts, reinforcing shelters, random quick fixes, all that kind of stuff. Bonus points if your staple gun works one-handed. I have a battery-powered one again. I like to get all the same system of tools for batteries, so I can just swap the batteries. But that kind of thing comes in really, really handy. When I'm doing fencing, I do prefer to sandwich the wire between wooden boards, but temporarily staples work, fencing staples work. You're also going to want zip ties and baling twine. If duct tape is a universal fix-all, baling twine is the farm version. That's why we only get rid of it when we have so much of it already. We've used it for quick halter repairs, hanging water buckets, gate fixes, you name it. And zip ties? Keep them in your back pocket, okay? Keep your zip ties handy. You're going to need them. Zip ties are probably the handiest thing for a quick fencing repair. Won't last forever, but it'll get you through the night. What about for cleaning up the mess, cleaning and maintenance? Well, someone has to clean up the mess, and that someone's usually me. So you're going to want a good quality manure fork, okay? These are absolutely essential. I have one for the coop, I have one for the horse and goat pen, one for the compost pile, and somehow I actually have four. Okay, I have four. And somehow we still end up not being able to find any of them or arguing over who's using it. I don't know. You're going to want a wheelbarrow or a garden cart or both. I have both. It's a good idea to have both. These are good for hauling hay, for moving bedding, carrying feed sacks, occasionally giving a kid a ride through the garden. Try to find a wheelbarrow with really good big tires. And I like wheelbarrows with 2 tires in the front because it just makes them more stable, less likely to tip. Because having a wheelbarrow with good balance makes all the difference in the world. They're just easier to handle. You're going to want a hose nozzle with multiple settings. 1 minute you're rinsing buckets, the next you're blasting mud off your boots. Get a sturdy one made of metal that won't break or crack if you drop it. You will drop it, or the horse will step on it. So make sure you've got a good quality hose nozzle, okay? And while you're at it, get some good quality hoses. Hoses that are great quality will last you for years, unless you drive over them with the lawnmower, but they will last you for years, and you will not have to replace them nearly as often. Invest in good hoses. What about feeding tools? Feeding time is a whole thing, and the right tools can make it so much easier. You're going to want feed scoops and storage bins. I like to use a really good mouse-proof plastic bin and big scoops that can handle pelleted feed, cracked corn, or whatever grain mix I've currently got for everybody. If you've ever had a feed bag go moldy, you'll know why it's so important to keep the humidity out of your feed. So lock it in a good sealed bin. You're also going to want to get some large buckets. You can't have too many buckets, I promise. Water, feed, catching runoff, mixing mash, moving chicks. You'll use them for everything, okay? When buckets go on sale at your local store, buy them. Especially if they're rubber buckets. Rubber buckets are like the best thing ever invented. Get some. When they go on sale, grab them all. Doesn't matter. You need more. I know you think you don't need more. You need more. You always need more buckets. Promise. Okay? And you're also going to lose them all the time. So you need more anyway. You need a stack of them. And then when your stack gets low, you need another stack. So when they go on sale, buy them all. Doesn't matter. Then there are a few things that don't necessarily fit into a category, but these are kind of the unsung heroes of my farm. The weird little things you didn't know you needed until you needed them. Things like permanent markers, being able to label feed bins or medication or egg cartons, sometimes the occasional tool. It's mine. One marker, there's one in my pocket right now. I have one in my pocket. I've got one in the barn. I've got one in the shed behind me. I've got a couple in the garage. I've got a whole bunch in the house. They are everywhere. I've got a whole bunch in the baby barn where the chicks are. You never know, okay? You need them. And somehow, with all the markers everywhere, I'm still always looking for one. Get yourself a really good pack of permanent markers, okay? Really good, like the Sharpie ones, a good quality, not the ones that dry out overnight. Hi, guys. Ducks are coming. Also, you want some kind of notebook or a farm journal, somewhere to write down breeding records and hatch dates and feed schedules. garden notes, weird goat behavior, having somewhere to write things down, like an actual specific, I'm going to write it down here and not just on random pieces of paper, it helps. Okay. It helps when you can't remember if that chicken is broody again or still broody from last time. If you can't remember when the farrier came, so you're trying to figure out, do I have to book the farrier or did the farrier just come? Because I honestly don't remember when she was here last. This is a good place to write all these things down. Have a specific journal or a notepad or something sitting around that you use. Also, get yourself a farm stool. It doesn't have to be fancy. You can use an actual stool. You can use a chair. You can use a milk crate, a 5-gallon bucket flipped upside down, or an actual stool if you're feeling luxurious today. Whether you're milking or bottle feeding or just need to sit down for a second, having places to sit matters. That's why you'll see these chairs all over the farm. I use these all the time. If I'm giving someone medication or whatever, I have these plastic chairs. They're cheap. I can go to our local store and buy them 6, 10 at a time. So when they break, I can just get rid of them. It's not a big deal. But having somewhere to sit makes all the difference. Do not peck my shoe. I've got chickens. Yes, gentlemen, but don't peck my shoe. I've got chickens and ducks. Hi, ladies. Ladies are coming. You're beautiful ladies. Love ya. Yeah, you're beautiful ladies. And ducks on this side too. All right. The last couple of things I'm going to recommend is you want some duct tape and you want some WD-40. Yeah, your dad told you you'd need it, right? You do. Because it's cliche because it's true. If it moves and it shouldn't, duct tape. That's what my dad always said. And if it doesn't move and it should, WD-40. That is farm law. Okay? If it's moving and you didn't want it to, grab the duct tape. If it should move and it's not, WD-40 time. Okay? So those two things will come in handy year after year. Don't run out. Don't run out and buy extra duct tape because where's the duct tape right now? Someone stole it. And I think it was Tristan. I actually think he has it right now. I think he's using the duct tape to keep things where they are while he's screwing everything together. So he's using the duct tape to align things. Hopefully he takes the duct tape off after or not. Doesn't matter. Anyway, those are some of the invaluable tools we use here on the farm pretty much every day. So think about what ones work for you and what you might need or not need. Now, maybe you don't need everything I mentioned. Maybe you need more things than I mentioned. That's okay. Anyway, that is about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. Drop a comment below and let me know what is your most used farm tool. I'd love to hear the unexpected items you can't live without. We'll see you tomorrow.